Firstly, just wanted to say thank you very much for taking the time to actually speak to me, you know. It's really difficult to get responses from people, and yeah, I really, really appreciate it, so thank you.
Well,
Yeah, thanks for your time.
It's an honor for me. Thank you.
No, don't be silly. So, Stephen, just wanted to talk to you a bit more about your music and your influences. What has influenced you? Have you always been a musician? Are you a working musician outside of your stuff that you do?
Yes, I've always been a musician. When I was 6 years old, I got to play the first synthesizer, and that's when it started, the passion for music. Well, for music and sound as well. And the synthesizer was a great way to get introduced to music. Harmony, melody-wise, but also creating sounds. Yes, and now I'm still working as a musician, a live musician, well, not right now at the time, and studio musician.
I was listening to some of your tracks, particularly liked Arrival at Night, Timeless, Summer of '89. A lot of your stuff is really, it's spot on. For me, when I heard your music initially, I was really taken aback, and I thought, wow, this is really something. And I have friends who are very much into synth stuff, and I reached out to them and said, look, have you heard of this guy, Stephen Parry? Is this guy on your radar? And they couldn't believe it either. So I don't think it's just me. Your playing is phenomenal, but the way that you play is advanced beyond what you'd usually expect in kind of synth wave stuff. Does that make sense? A lot of the production is done afterwards, but I can imagine you playing it live.
Yes, absolutely. When I play it, it should feel like it's a live performance. So I usually try to avoid editing too much after I made a performance. It's a bit different with the vocals. There I need a few takes, but playing usually is not that difficult to record.
Yeah, at your skill level, that's the thing, you know. For a lot of people, it's well beyond what most people could do. So don't put yourself down. You seem to have a really broad-reaching skill set. Can you tell us a bit about your foray into vaporwave?
I actually discovered vaporwave through synthwave. I was looking for some new synthwave stuff on Bandcamp, and then I stumbled across vaporwave, and at first I didn't get it. Only after I listened to a few vaporwave tracks, and I was fascinated by the fact that it was material that was already there, but then was put into a whole new, different context, and it's not. I mean, it's not so difficult. You just loop something from an 80s track, and then you slow it down, pitch it down, and add a few lo-fi effects, and it's a completely different overall feeling than the original. And so the first two albums vaporwave albums that I made, that were released by DMT tapes, they were very heavy sample based. Well, actually exclusively only samples. A few additions with keyboards, but basically just samples. And then for the third album, I had the idea to make it sound like everything was sampled from the 80s, but actually I played all the parts myself. And afterwards I sampled it, looped it, and slowed it down and made it sound lo-fi. And that was and one track was Arrival at Night. That actually was first a vaporwave track, and only afterwards it became like a proper synthwave tune.
It definitely has a different appeal or a different vibe to some of your other tracks. When I was listening to it, you play the keyboard.
Yeah, that's a keyboard. It's different from a keyboard because there are no keys in the classic sense. It's just one, platform you can slide seamlessly, so you can bend the tones from very low to very high, and you can put a lot of feeling into your playing. When you move your fingers slightly, you can get a vibrato, and it's just very intuitive.
You produce everything at home?
Yes, in a house where I live with my wife and my son, and some of the jobs that I do together with my wife. But the synthwave stuff I'm doing on my own. That's right. I have a few keyboards, and I work with Logic X, and yes, I write and perform and arrange and mix the songs.
So it's a one-man operation. It's just you. That's just one-man band, literally. When you hear the end result, you would not think that, to be honest. You would think that there was a team behind that, or that there was maybe more what you'd recognise as a commercial studio setting. It sounds phenomenal. Yes. Your sound, your end sound is great.
Thank you. That's kind. Thank you.
Stephen, thank you so much for your input. I really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you, Stephen. All the very best, and I hope you stay safe. Thank you.
You too. Thank you.